Welcome to the tip channel. That is perfection. Hello and welcome back to the tip channel. Today I'd like to talk a little bit about electrical work. Now, I've been in the electrical field all my life. In 1973 I started to go to school for it and continued to go to school for 3 years to 1976, after which I worked for an electrical contractor for 6 years after that. So I've always done electrical work. I've always tried to keep up with the local codes and what have you and do things that are absolutely safe for my client. I recently got pulled out on a job. A client asked me to run a circuit for a bathroom for him. I went out and he had just had an electrical service put in. Had an inspection sticker on it. Now, whether or not the inspector was there and just inspected the electrical entrance, I don't know. But whenever I pulled that cover off, I was amazed to find 4 violations. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about is amperage rating of wires. Now, in a home, basically you have 14 gauge wire. 14 gauge is good for 15 amps. A number 12 is good for 20. A number 10 is good for 30. A number 8 is good for about 40 amps. A number 6 is good for about 55 amps. Now that 8 and number 6 depends on how far away the appliance is from the panel box. But that having been said, basically the first violation that I found is that we have a number 8 coming from an electrical range. Now, a range will pull 40 amps at a minimum. Some of the bigger ranges may pull 50, 55 amps. So we're on a number 8 wire, copper running to the wire, perfect. Inside of the panel box, he wire nutted the number 8 to a number 10. So what's going to happen? That number 10, the insulation on it is going to get hot. It's going to melt. It's going to cause a short circuit. Now, good thing is at least it's inside of a panel box. So hopefully when the fire starts, it's going to run out of oxygen because it's inside of an enclosed box and the fire go out. So if my client's lucky, that's where it will stop. Second violation, we have a 100 amp breaker controlling a sub panel. Now, what confused me is that the electrician used the anti-corrosive material on the aluminum wire coming in from the entrance, but he didn't use it on the wire going to the sub panel. So here's the issue with aluminum wire. Aluminum wire will corrode. You have to put the anti-corrosive material on it to keep it from corroding. The next violation, number 3, is that we have an air conditioning unit in another room, which is a 220. So we have a 12-3 powering that air conditioning unit. 12-3 is good for 20 amps. He has it on a 30 amp breaker. So again, something happens to that device, it starts to malfunction, it pulls more than 20 amps, that wire is going to catch on fire between the panel box and that appliance. Or the appliance itself may catch on fire because it's improperly fused. Last violation, we have a wire going to a hot water tank. Now, that wire is number 10, and number 10 is good for 30 amps. First thing is, he has a 40 amp breaker. Now, the wire going to the hot water tank is what's referred to as a cloth wrapped wire. Now, back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, this was a wire that they went to over top of knob and tube. The problem with the cloth wrapped wire is that the conductors inside are wrapped with rubber. Now, the rubber eventually breaks down and becomes very brittle. So what starts to happen is you start to move those wires around, the insulation's getting cracked, and naturally, if 2 conductors come together with each other, it's It's going to cause a spark. It's going to cause a fire. Now, if you pull an outlet apart and you see this type of wiring in it and you just absolutely can't change that wire to where it's going at least take the time and wrap that with electrical tape. So you don't want those two conductors shorting out. Now, as I mentioned, this number 10 is going to a hot water tank. The hot water tank's in an exposed area. That wire can be bumped around very easily, and naturally the conductors can start to short circuit. So two things. Number one is the wire should have been replaced. Number two, never should have put it on a 40 amp breaker. Anyways, if you're watching this video, please, please, please don't get your brother-in-law, don't get your uncle, don't hire some guy that somebody said he's been doing it for 60 years. My question is, has he hurt anybody in the past? This guy should not be doing electrical work. The other thing is that I live in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, naturally, we have some pretty severe winters. We have a lot of low-income people living in old homes which have old wiring in. Naturally, these homes aren't insulated, so they figure, well, let's just keep these couple rooms warm. We'll just plug in a space heater. Every day on the news, I watch houses burn down. What did they find at fault? A space heater. These old homes are not made to plug in an electrical heater. Do not use an electrical heater in old wiring. If you plan on heating a room with an electrical heater, have an electrician run a new circuit out there for you so that at least that will be safe. I hope you found this video informative. I hope that you electricians out there will take the time to comment on what I found inside of this panel box. Anyways, please be safe. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and have a great day.